What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got another edition of The Drive-In, where I watch recently released movies that just came out and tell you guys whether they are worth watching or you should skip them all together. This one in particular is a bit of a different review, as I'm reviewing a documentary this time and not just a regular movie. You guys that have been watching my channel, you know that I've been doing a lot of Shudder stuff. Shudder is not sponsoring this video. There's no promotional content here or anything, but I personally have Shudder. I've subscribed to it for the better part of like a year and a half, 2 years now, and I really enjoy it. It is Shudder. If you guys don't know what Shudder is, it is the horror version of Netflix. It is like an all-horror Netflix, where they have TV series, movies, documentaries, exclusive content, original content, stuff like that. It's like $5.50 or $6 a month. Really cheap. I love Shudder. You guys know I'm always talking about it on here, on my own accord. This is my second video of the day that I'm recording. As you can see, same shirt, I swear. I'm recording this at the same night. Go back and watch my review of Fuller House if you guys want to see my thoughts on Netflix's Fuller House from earlier. By the time this comes out, that'll be a few days ago. But yeah, I wanted to talk to you guys about the newest documentary on Shudder in honor of Pride Month. It is Pride Month here in June. I'm very much supportive of the LGBTQIA+ community, and I thought it was really cool that Shudder chose this time to release or to put up a documentary called Scream Queen: My Nightmare on Elm Street. Obviously, you guys can tell by the title that it is about Nightmare on Elm Street, in particular Nightmare on Elm Street 2: Freddy's Revenge. This documentary came out in 2019 and got really good feedback. I think it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, really high scores online, and it is well deserving of those scores. This particular documentary shines a light on what people call the gay horror movie, the gay Freddy. Everyone kind of knows the first Nightmare on Elm Street for being groundbreaking, Freddy Krueger, and Part 3, Dream Warriors, is being kind of the best sequel and the most popular of the franchise because of all the crazy characters in the dream world. But people kind of often skip over Freddy's Revenge Part 2 because it's kind of considered the gay Freddy. And so this essentially was the first time that we saw a subtextually gay horror film in the mainstream conscious, which really is special, and also was the first time that we have a male Scream Queen pretty much at the forefront. Mark Patton was, at the time, pretty much the first trailblazing male Scream Queen. Everyone kind of knows about the final girl, how the trope in horror, you have your one main character, your kind of virginal main girl that lasts till the end and outsmarts the killer. She's called the final girl. Mark Patton was your final girl in this movie as a man. And this documentary is about his personal tale of his life, coming up, getting into acting, being a closeted gay man, coming out with a pretty conservative family, and going into New York and Hollywood and just all the different acting meccas and cultures back then as a closeted gay man during the time of HIV and AIDS being prominent. So in a time when people started to ask questions and being gay was kind of considered a really dangerous, bad thing because it was very unknown at the time and people were scared of the AIDS virus, and people that were gay were dying of AIDS, and so you had to really speak up about being gay at the time. And Mark Patton kind of was coming out into his own sexuality and kind of fully discovering who he was, and was poised for a major horror career. And because of kind of the way his career went, and because of this movie, he didn't really get to fully experience what it was like to be a star. So I don't want to give any spoilers to this. I think you should all watch it. Again, it shines not only a light on a good feature for Pride Month to watch, and a good representation of gay culture, and a breakthrough story of a gay man in the horror industry, but also just Mark Patton's life in general. The guy that was the main subject of this documentary, the main character in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, is a really strong, empowered guy. And not only does he come to life and come into his own in having to deal with the pratfalls of what it was like to be gay in the 80s like that, but also kind of seeing the positives and negatives of what he goes through with Nightmare on Elm Street 2. We talked to the director, who seemed to be very oblivious to the fact that NOES 2 was had all this gay subtext. When you talk to the director, he didn't really catch a lot of the gay nuances. And it's weird because I feel like half of the cast and crew didn't catch it at all and kind of didn't know what was going on until after the fact. And the other half were very obviously understanding of the fact that a lot of these little things were considered gay. You know, you had the main guy being a guy. You had the guy not really being attracted to the girl and going back to the guy's house. You had the dancing in the bedroom. You had the towel scene with a bunch of phallic balls and the coach being kind of BDSM chained up in the locker room and getting towel whipped on the bare butt. You had the gay. They chose a really predominantly gay male strip club to shoot the bar scene in. There's just all these little things that I remember kind of having a feeling, understanding a bit when I was young, but not really getting all the nuances. And as I got older, I understood how outwardly gay the message was in this. And again, some people at the time were oblivious to it, and others totally got it. We talked to the director, who was totally oblivious to it. They talked to a lot of the cast and crew of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, who absolutely got it. And they talked to the writer, who at the time when he wrote this film, denied all of the gay subtext and pretended he didn't know that it was in there, and blamed Mark Patton, the actor, for making it gay. He said that it was Mark Patton's choices and stuff that made the movie gay. And then he later on came out and said that he did purposely kind of make this a gay script, and he was obvious to the fact that all these nuances would be considered homosexual. And so then Mark Patton had a problem with that. Mark Patton talked about how he doesn't appreciate that because he was kind of almost trying to hide his sexuality at the time because it was considered bad to be gay in the 80s because of HIV and AIDS. And so when this stuff came out, he felt like he was being outed by the writer. And the writer didn't take responsibility. He passed it off and blamed the actor. So Mark Patton has this long-standing kind of grudge and sadness toward the writer of this movie for the fact that he was hiding the fact that he wrote a gay script. And so they come face to face and have a sit-down. The writer and Mark Patton sit down, and Mark Patton is looking for an apology after all this time and brings out his, the writer confesses what he did, and so they have this heart-to-heart. And it's a really nice way to kind of, for Mark Patton after all these years, to finally get closure, because he got this starring role and he had a good look and he was a good actor and he was poised to break out in Hollywood, but he was kind of scarred by this experience. He didn't have a good experience shooting this movie, and he wound up kind of going into hiding and kind of being associated with this gay thing in a time when being gay was bad. He didn't get a chance to be a breakout star, so this movie was his big starring role, but also kind of cost him his career in a lot of ways. So you get the ups and downs of that. You get him and the writer sitting down. You get the entire NOES 2 crew getting together at a convention, saying hello for the first time in years and talking to each other. You see a lot of Mark Patton's personal life. His boyfriends, one of which died from AIDS, and he didn't know that he had it. Mark Patton talks about his own diseases and sicknesses, the things that he had contracted in a really dangerous time, and he wasn't sure if he'd get through. He talks about his home life with his family. He talks about going up into seclusion and meeting another lover later in life. So you get a lot of really nice stories of a strong guy who overcame a lot of things and still needed to get a lot of closure. And because of this documentary, I think got that closure and also gave us a deeper look than we ever got before into Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. We saw some of that in Never Sleep Again, the comprehensive Freddy documentary, but we never really got this full look into all the subtext and cultures of what this movie meant and the time that it meant. So I really like the fact that Shudder is doing stuff like this. I would like more documentaries and stuff like this about LGBTQIA plus style movies. I like the fact that we're getting more either ambiguous or even the obvious situations where you have two lesbians as leads or two gay men as leads. You can have that stuff now, and it's not it's not considered so abnormal or so frowned upon. People have more of a voice now. People that are lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual are able to be in more important roles in these films and are able to speak out more and able to own their sexuality and own and appreciate who it is they are. And that means a lot to me. And I like stuff like this. I think it's a really good, deep documentary. If you like Mark Patton or you like documentaries about homosexuality and stuff like that in that time, and stuff that digs a little bit deeper than just the movie, or if you like the Nightmare on Elm Street series, I would highly recommend this documentary. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think it covers a lot of deep, important things, and it sheds light on a lot of issues, and lets a lot of us know who didn't grow up in those kind of cities in that time period. I mean, I'm 33, and so I was only born in 86, and so I was in 90s. I grew up formatively in the 90s, so I didn't know about a lot of this stuff. And it's really nice to be able to get some knowledge, not only on the film, but on the culture as well. So I recommend this film. I hope that you guys check it out and like it. And what other documentaries would you guys like to see me cover on this channel? I have not done a lot of documentaries on here, and I'm a huge horror documentary fan and biography documentary fan, and just documentaries about film stuff in general. So if you guys have any you'd like me to check out, please send me links, please send me recommendations. I'm down to check those out. So until next time, guys, this has been The Drive-In. I will see you soon. Take care. Stay safe.